Well, we'll go ahead and get started. If there are others who join us, you may see me pause for just a minute to let them into the meeting. But I want to let you know that this is a recorded meeting. The City of Franklin requires neighborhood meetings when development plans are proposed. We are proposing a development plan. We're proposing certain properties that you'll see tonight to be annexed into the City of Franklin. We are joined in the Zoom meeting tonight by Alderman Ann Peterson, Alderman Scott Speedy, and Commissioner Betsy Harris. So appreciate you all joining us. We are here tonight to listen to your comments, to listen to your questions, answer your questions where we can, and look forward to the discussion. I'm going to go ahead and go through the presentation. There will be ample time after the presentation for me to flip back to slides and answer questions that you may have. When asking a question, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can open up your chat dialog and type in questions that you may have in chat. So I've got it open as well. I might be a little slow to respond to chat at times, but we'll get to as many or all of your questions that you may have through this neighborhood meeting. Again, my name is Greg Gamble, and I'm a landscape architect and land planner. This is a neighborhood proposal by Ford Classic Homes. Ford is a local builder here in Franklin, Tennessee. They're currently building in West Haven. They're building in Berry Farms, and you can see a lot of the high quality homes that they have in those neighborhoods. Again, sorry, I'm getting distracted as I let other people into the meeting. Okay, the property that we are discussing tonight is shown here in green and is to the west of Lewisburg Pike. This property is currently in the county, and we are requesting that it be annexed into the City of Franklin. This is a property that is in the along the Lewisburg corridor, is in immediate proximity to Berry Farms and the Berry Farms development. Berry Farms ultimately will have over 4.9 million square feet of commercial, offering becoming a very big job center here in the Franklin area along I-65. And we're looking at the opportunities that are along Lewisburg Pike to potentially provide those homes for those people who would be working at Berry Farms, who are looking for shorter drive distances, a shorter commute to the office, and or their place of business. You'll recognize this property from 2019. We submitted it concurrently with Southbrook. Southbrook PUD is currently north and south of Stream Valley's main entrance. This PUD was withdrawn in its entirety after several of the aldermen asked that we intentionally phase or submit these developments in separate PUDs, and so that's what we have done. Southbrook was approved in 2019. We don't have a neighborhood name yet established for this area west of Lewisburg Pike, so you'll see on the front covers, it's over here on the title, it's referred to as Lewisburg Pike PUD. There will be a formal neighborhood name for this, but that neighborhood name must be approved through Williamson County Emergency Services and by the City of Franklin, and that's a process that we're going through. So we'll let your HOA presidents know or send out emails once we have an established formal name for this proposal. The proposed development has not changed very much in layout from the Southbrook PUD. The Lewisburg Pike PUD consists of a total of 243 acres in size. Envision Franklin identifies the property in the conservation subdivision policy, and that conservation subdivision policy creates development design guidelines very intentional to set aside and preserve open space. And on our plan, we have a total of 61% of the site that will be preserved in open space areas. In the at the top and around the hill, as you drive down Lewisburg Pike, you see the hill areas here. We have a 125-acre park that's being proposed. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. But through the conservation subdivision policy, we are only developing 39% of the total 243 acres. The development includes 199 single-family homes, 23 duplex buildings, and 77 multiplex buildings. There are a total of 543 homes that are being proposed as a part of this west side of Lewisburg Pike development. We are going to talk about this in 3 sections. This area here is at the far north. You see over here the Stream Valley's entrance. Our traffic engineer has finished a traffic analysis, traffic study, and has determined that a new traffic signal is required at the Stream Valley entrance when this development develops. So we anticipate that in one of the earlier phases of development, but we do know that a traffic signal is going to be required and will be installed as a part of this development. The area here to the north, this is kind of all the way up here at the top of the development plan, includes a mixture of homes from single-family detached, shown in this lighter salmon color, that are alley loaded from behind. So all the garages are going to be located off of the alley here, but the homes front onto the public street. And a mixture of multiplex houses. We have multiplex houses that are fronting here onto Lewisburg Pike. These will have more of a linear park feel in front. As you can see, they're recessed about 80 feet off of Lewisburg Pike. In the middle portion now, we've rotated this. So the area that we were just talking about to the north is here, and north is now this direction. But by rotating it, we can show you more of the plan. This area here also has a mixture of single-family detached homes and multiplex buildings. The multiplex buildings are primarily fronting onto Lewisburg Pike, and that's to really give us a sense of scale and proportion. Lewisburg Pike is an arterial road. It does have setbacks off of it of 80 feet. So when we design this area, and we're talking about the multiplex buildings, they're designed to look and feel like one single family house. And they have a common entrance here that's facing Lewisburg, but they may have 2 or 3 families that live in each of the buildings. And so you can see them here. This is the proposed Lewisburg PUD that's on this side of the road, and then the current approved Southbrook that is on the east side of the road with these multiplex buildings that are directly across the street. Now, a lot of you may be wondering why in the world we're showing median divided boulevard for Lewisburg Pike. Ultimately, one day, this will be the design plans for Lewisburg Pike, but we don't have a timeline or know when that construction would take place. But when we do a master plan design, we always have to look into the future. And someday in the future, it's planned by both the state and the city of Franklin for Lewisburg to be a median divided 4-lane road. So we have to design our plan to make sure that we can accommodate that future improvement for Lewisburg, but there is no timeline today as to when that would take place. Now on the very south, the southern end here, We have, again, a mixture of single-family detached homes, alley-loaded, and multiplex buildings. We have 4 lots that are 2-acre lots that are backing up to the hill in this area here. And we have multiplex buildings that are at the base of the hill on this southern end as well.
Greg, can I just ask a real quick question? What is the HHO buffer that we see throughout?
Sure, the HHO buffer is called the Hilltop Hillside Preservation Line. That line was established in around 2009, I believe, as a zoning overlay. And it is a protection area that's been established by the city of Franklin for a number of reasons. It could be based upon slopes. It could be based upon a hill that's being viewed from an arterial street, which it is in this instance. It's areas throughout Franklin where the city has said, we don't want development to occur on top of those hilltops. We don't want development to occur where it can be seen from miles and miles around. So again, as a part of that conservation subdivision policy, this land is being set aside in preservation in perpetuity. So for the 125 acres, we're proposing a public park or a private park. And this is something that we're still kind of talking through with the Parks Department as to whether or not they want it to be public or if it needs to be privately maintained, but we do want it to be a park. This will include hiking trails, mountain bike trails. There would be a trailhead for parking and shade structures associated with the park, but really looking at this as being a real active area where people can get outdoors and enjoy the accessibility to such a unique place. I want to talk a little bit about the character of the architecture. Single-family homes, again, Mike Ford, Ford Homes is currently building in West Haven and in Berry Farms. I believe that they have a model at Berry Farms you're welcome to go and tour. But these are predominantly 2-story single-family detached homes, front porches, with very generous floor plans. This is an example of the multiplex building. In this instance, the design, as you can see here, is designed to look and feel like a single family house. However, this would be 3 units, 3 more or less townhomes that are designed or incorporated within this building to achieve that kind of multiplex design building concept. Southbrook is responsible for the improvement of the Goose Creek bypass and Lewisburg Pike intersection. They're responsible for building this intersection out to its full potential and full future capacity. And it has been designed and analyzed by the city of Franklin and by our third-party traffic engineer, including 30 years of additional background traffic. It includes an analysis with 100% of the Berry Farms build out. And what is coming or what will be constructed are 2 turn lanes on Lewisburg Pike going toward I-65, 2 through lanes on Lewisburg Pike going to the north, an additional lane here traveling southbound. There will be an additional turn lane added on Goose Creek, so 2 turn lanes headed southbound, a new right turn lane going north on Lewisburg Pike. So this improvement, we're anticipating seeing start probably in about a year, probably has another year of construction, but would be the ultimate full build out of the Lewisburg Pike and Goose Creek bypass intersection. With that, I'm going to now turn it over to questions. And again, if you do have a question, you can unmute yourself, or you can type it over here into the chat bar.
Hi, Greg. This is Alex. Good evening,
Alex.
everybody. I'm not sure if I understood correctly. At the beginning of the slides, you're showing where the traffic light is suggested to go at Stream Valley, at the entrance of Stream Valley. If I understand correctly, so are you guys going to use the entrance of Stream Valley to access directly your neighborhood, your proposed neighborhood?
No, this neighborhood is over on the west side. So this might help you, Alex. You can see Stream Valley's entrance right here that I'm highlighting in blue.
Yep.
And the city of Franklin and the state of Tennessee got together several years ago, and they have very strict locations for where access points can occur down Lewisburg Pike. They want to make sure that they are all at least 1,200 feet apart and have this kind of separation and spacing. So we're following the state and the city of Franklin requirements for the connections. So on the east side, as you know, with Southbrook, this is the first phase. We are discussing right now the phasing of the west side, but anticipate that the first phase of the west side would be, generally speaking, here directly across from the Southbrook entrance. Our traffic engineer, though, has stated that this entrance that would align with Stream Valley's will be signalized with the construction of this access point. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, I understand now. Thank you.
Yeah, here's Stream Valley. You're over here on the east side of the road, so directly adjacent to you or across the street. And this is where the traffic signal would be installed to allow easier access in and out of both of those neighborhoods.
Yep, got it. I agree. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Hey, Greg, this is Dennis. So question, so you've got the village of Southbrook happening now. Does the Meadows at Southbrook go next and then this area across the street, or what's kind of your plan as you look at those three segments?
Sure. You may be aware of Chadwell's development plan that's being proposed here. In order for the Meadows of Southbrook to have sewer, a sewer line needs to be constructed right down this little stream channel. The timing of when this development, the Meadows at Southbrook, would occur is really is contingent upon Ford and Boyle really getting together to talk through the dynamics of when that sewer line could be constructed.
Greg, sewage is at the corner of Goose Creek Bypass now and Lewisburg Pike, is that right? And is there any plans for that to come down Lewisburg Pike?
There's I don't know if you can see this. This is a kind of a ridge line right through here. So the center of the ridge would be through here. So imagine that center line continuing. So anything that is north of that is going to have sewer that goes toward that intersection. Anything to the south of that really is going to follow through this tributary that's, and I think there's another one that's down in this area here. Those are existing sewer lines. So a little bit of a different sewer basin than what's up there at the intersection of Goose Creek and Lewisburg Pike.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Philip.
The very southwest is, I see a road running west. And where does that go? Does that connect all the way to Macklemore Road?
Sure. The city of Franklin has a major thoroughfare plan. And in that major thoroughfare plan, there is contemplation of a I'm going to pull up Google Earth so you can see this a little bit better. And I'm going to highlight Macklemore, which is, I believe it's right here. So there is contemplation by the city of Franklin of one day having maybe a flyover in this location. What they're looking at is potentially a collector road that would go from this side of I-65 all the way across in some way. Now I'm drawing dashes, but I don't have a direct path, but in some way connecting back over to Goose Creek Bypass and Columbia Pike. So that being said, what we're showing as a part of this southern neighborhood is the start of that collector road, but we don't have control over what path it would take to eventually make its way to Columbia Pike or how long that build out would occur. But yes, the city engineering department is asking us to start that potential collector road that would stop. It would go from Lewisburg Pike and stop at the property line here.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Greg, this is Dennis again. So you're right now, what's your process or what's the steps? So you're going right now, one, just to get, so you become part of the city. What's kind of your timeline and all that stuff for the, we'll call it the west side of 431?
Sure. So tonight is the third step in our process. We've made a pre-application submittal to the city, and we have reviewed our submittal with city staff as of this morning. Tonight is our neighborhood meeting. We're planning on making an initial submittal on March the 8th, which would put us on track for the March 25th joint conceptual workshop. If we continue on path, that would put us on track for the Planning Commission on April the 22nd. May, June, and July would be board and mayor and alderman meetings, their voting sessions. So if it was a linear path and every single meeting was kept in that path, then by the end of July, this property would likely be annexed into the city of Franklin and the development plan approved. As far as the start of construction, Ford would prefer to make to really focus its time, energy, efforts on this first phase of Southbrook. The city of Franklin is contemplating a small area plan for this area south of Ladd Park that includes primarily future development growth that would occur over on the east side of I-65. That being said, they are looking at sewer capacity. They're looking at a regional traffic study that would encompass really, more of this area. And so we want to go ahead and have this plan a part of that conversation and a part of that discussion. And we're excited that the city is really starting to look regionally, looking a little bit bigger picture about the all of the growth pattern and development, future development that's down both the Carruthers Parkway corridor, I-65 corridor, Lewisburg Pike. So we're submitting this now to really get into that conversation.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Greg, this is Larry Levine.
Larry?
On the south end of this proposed development, the little road that you show, does that road have sewer?
It does not today. There are really 4 different ways in which this side of west of Lewisburg Pike has access to the sewer system. We talked about one that would go through Berry Farms, and that sewer system, let's see, would be approximately here over. So everything within this kind of area there would follow that blue line. The next area would go through Southbrook in this direction, and it would be everything that's kind of in the middle here. The next one would be through Bushnell Sewer and would be just this little piece right here. So the fourth piece, which is really kind of down here on this southern end, as you pointed out, this would be really the last phase, but it would have to follow a sewer main that is yet to be constructed that would be in this general location.
So in other words, there would be no sewer for this area. And when this is constructed, would it be, how would you get rid of the sewage problem for that area?
Sure, the city of Franklin looks to the private developer to extend those city services. So private developer would have the responsibility of working with adjacent property owners to acquire easements to achieve that that sewer plan. There is a potential from this part of the road to stay along Lewisburg Pike and then go down Bushnell, although that really doesn't follow the city of Franklin's long-range sewer plan. They would much rather have a sewer line that's traveling down through this lower portion here. So there are a couple of options on how this area to the south does get sewer, but the city of Franklin really looks to the private developer to work through those questions.
Well, what I don't understand is these proposed houses in the salmon color on the south end. Would they have septic tanks, or how would you?
No, they could be approved as a part of a development plan. In other words, they could be approved as a part of a bigger master plan. But before you could get a site plan, a construction documents, before you can get a grading permit for this area, we would need to work through where that sewer line would go. But no, they would not have septic tanks.
So in other words, if that area is constructed, that area would have to have sewer. Is that correct?
That area could not be constructed until sewer is made available.
I see. All right. Now, you know where my property is.
Yes, sir.
All right. How far is this from my property? If you could tell me that, I'd appreciate it. And in other words, at one point, as I recall, you had some additional, Mr. Ford had additional acreage south of this particular parcel. Does he still have that acreage, or is that no longer there?
This is the exact same acreage that we had originally submitted early in 2019. So there have been no additional changes to it. So this is the same as previous.
Well, here's what I don't understand. Maybe you can help me understand it. I saw there was that the property south of this was for sale on Lewisburg Pike again. Is that not so, or is that, am I mistaken?
I'm not sure of any properties to the south of this. If there is a for sale sign back on this property, Mike Ford and Ford Homes has this property under contract. So.
All right. There was 170 some odd acres of parcel. Is this part of that 170 acre parcel?
I'm not sure, but why don't I do a little bit of homework, and why don't you reach out to me sometime this week or first next week, and I'll help you when you kind of figure that out.
All right. I'll look forward to talking to you then.
Yeah, I may have to come out there and meet you and see what you're talking about, but we'll do that.
All right.
Hey, Greg, is there any commercial or retail?
There is no commercial or retail. The conservation policy allows for a clubhouse, amenity area, swimming pool, which we're planning for here, but no commercial activity.
Show me again where you just pointed to.
All right, yeah, let me mark that. The pool and amenity area will be located here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering where the people will be zoned for school.
Okay. The schools will include Thompson Station Elementary, Thompson
Okay.
Station Middle School, and
Okay.
Independence High School.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what is the price point for the houses?
I don't know that they've been established yet, but I think that
Okay.
if you looked at the homes Mike is currently selling in Berry Farms, that will give you a very, very good understanding of both
Okay.
price point and square footage and size.
Great, thank you.
Greg, it's Kim again. When you said the traffic signal going into Stream Valley and for across the street would start when the construction started for the west side, is that correct? So it would
So
be
we have
sort of-
we have several different phases and we're still kind of working through the finer details of that. But we do know that this general area would be phase one. And it would line directly across from the South Brooks main entrance. So this traffic signal would not likely be constructed until this road was built. And before this road is built, we need to have this sewer line connection over to Berry Farms. So I don't have a timing on that yet. I can't tell you that it's going to be in 24 or 25, but my guess is it's probably going to be around that time.
Thanks.
Hi, Greg. Alex again. So just to be sure I understood correctly, so Meadows at Southbrook and Villages at Southbrook will start around 2024, you said?
So Villages of Southbrook is currently under construction, and this is definitely phase one. Before the Meadows can start, we need to coordinate with Boyle on sewer. And you know that they've just recently gone through their amended plan, so we're getting closer to when that could occur. I just don't have I don't have a date yet as to when homes would begin selling for Meadows. And it's very likely that we would start this Meadows of Southbrook before we would develop anything in this area I'm highlighting in purple. I don't know that for sure, Alex, but we are working right now on the phasing of this development and want to go to the Planning Commission and the board, mayor and alderman and tell them exactly how the phasing is going to work. And so I'll have more information for you soon. When I do, I'm happy to share that with you.
Thanks. And so does Village at Southbrook, which is your phase one, does it connect to Stream Valley? And if so, how?
It does connect to Stream Valley. I'll try and draw the roadway network here in purple so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So this connection back here in the back, this is a connection to Stream Valley that's under construction now.
So is it the same entrance as what Chadwell is proposing?
The same entrance.
The same that will be considered as emergency entrance exit?
This will be a full open connected road.
Alex, it's right
Okay.
there by Kim's house is where it's at.
Yeah, so that's the same place where Chadwell is proposing the emergency road.
Chadwell has a connection that's down here more toward the multifamily and
Yeah,
then
Chadwell's the other side. Chadwell's the other side of the four-way stop. This is to the left and that's to the right as you're going out.
right.
Okay, sorry, then I got it wrong then. Okay, got it.
Hey, Greg, do you have a better visual pic images of the Villages of Southbrook? I know, so not on this topic, but,
You're fine.
and time frame, sorry.
No problem. Let's see what I can find.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, as you're pulling those up, so the villages right now, that's the part that's under construction. What's their timeline of like the roads being done? What's kind of their estimate?
It will be, my guess is that by fall of this year, we're going to start to see the first houses under construction. Typical would be about 5 months to build the house before you have the first resident move in. Is this helpful?
Yes,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
So this is what's currently under construction. This is the Southbrook development plan for the villages there to the south.
That's Randall Lane there.
Yeah, and you said homes would start construction in the fall?
I would think so, yes.
So Greg, you know our pain point. And this is going to go directly into Kim's, right by Kim's house and some other neighbor who's not on Facebook. Will Stream Valley roads be used for construction?
No, all the construction activities directly off Lewisburg Pike. Yeah, there was a lot of debate and discussion about having a direct road from Stream Valley all the way through. And after meeting with you and several of your neighbors, we discussed, this more kind of circuitous path with a few turns in it would still allow for residents to get from Stream Valley out, but would really discourage a lot of through traffic through here. So plus it kind of works to slow traffic down, create some traffic calming. So, yes, it's a secondary connection or a third connection out, but I think it'll be convenient for some of your residents, maybe not everyone.
Do you know if any of this changes where we are on a flood zone?
I'm not familiar with any. There are flood areas. This is the Envision Franklin map. And you can see these green areas here through Stream Valley and through the Chadwell site that have this green color. And those are 100-year floodplain. The dark green that you're seeing over here on the west side, that's the HHO area. So that's that hilltop protection. So the only floodplain I'm aware of is this down here in the, down here along the streams and those tributaries. Any additional questions, comments? thoughts?
Greg, Larry Levine again.
Yeah, Larry.
The changes to Goose Creek bypass, is that just at the intersection or does it go further down Goose Creek bypass?
Sure, that's a great question. These are the improvements that are associated with Southbrook that incorporated this west side of the development at the exact same time. So our traffic study looks holistically at all of the improvements that are along Lewisburg Pike. Now, Berry Farms is going to be making additional improvements down Goose Creek toward I-65 as they develop their Chadwell master plan. So there are multiple private developers that are doing multiple road improvements.
Well, in particular, is Goose Creek bypass going to be widened as far as the fire station?
There's
on the west side.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. The city is going to start a regional study called a small area plan that is going to be looking at this whole area. Really, I'll try and draw a line around it here. But you're familiar with Ladd Park, which is here. So they're going to be doing a regional analysis really that takes into consideration future growth in this area. It has to contemplate the build out of Berry Farms, the Southbrook area as well. So I don't know the results of what that traffic study is going to tell us yet. I am not a traffic engineer, but we'll have to see kind of what the the results of that study tell us.
In other words, you can't tell me whether Goose Creek bypass is proposed to be widened on the west side of Lewisburg Pike,
That's right. I don't know today.
but you're not planning to do that, right?
Yeah, the traffic engineers in the city of Franklin are saying that we are not going to be creating enough capacity to meet that requirement to make additional lanes. So that would not be a part of our scope of work.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, this is Cheryl Nesbitt.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hi, I have a question. I know that Brentwood, Tennessee made Newsweek magazine because they've connected all of their neighborhoods with walking trails.
Right.
Is there a walking trail plan to go from your area to Berry Farms? Because you can't put all those people's cars over at Berry Farms to eat at that little pizza place.
That's true. We are an incremental piece of the puzzle. We are planning on a greenway trail that will go the length of the development along Lewisburg Pike. Ultimately, and I'll kind of flip back to this graphic here. You can see the intentional additional greenway trails that are going through here. Once Southbrook is completed, will there be a walking path somehow going all the way to Berry Farms? I really don't think so. I think that as other developments are considered, that greenway trail can be extended. But there isn't contemplation today to have a greenway trail all the way along Lewisburg Pike at this point.
What about under the road? What about under Lewisburg Pike or over Lewisburg Pike and Goose Creek bypass so we can cross the street?
I can explore that. You're the first person that's brought this up. So
Oh, go me.
Greg, no, Greg, I think, hey, Greg, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chadwell plans to do something underneath Goose Creek, right? From Chadwell to.
Yeah, they sure do. I can kind of go back to this aerial. Chadwell has, let's see. Well, I was trying to find the Berry Farms Greenway Trail.
The key is Cheryl will be able to get a golf cart and go from Spring
Yeah.
Valley
Yeah,
to the public when
they want this.
Sounds good.
They want this greenway trail that goes from Chadwell all the way across underneath to the side of Berry Farms.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Greg, quick question about the zoning. What's the timeline of zone changes and how much of the area around here is that going to affect?
The proposed annexation and zoning is only for the property that's highlighted here, that's shown on this master plan. The zoning process will take us through July. At the end of July, following that linear path, would include annexation, plan of services, zoning of the property, and the adoption of the master plan. So it's all done in 4 votes by the board, mayor, and alderman.
Would it include property that's between there and the rest of Franklin?
It will not. It only includes the properties that are a part of this this plan.
Okay, and what would be the new zone called?
It's a PD, planned district.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Greg, this is Rick Freeberg. I'm a
Hey,
new
Rick.
guy here.
I'm
I'm
glad
just
you're able to
looking,
join us.
thanks, yeah. I'm looking at the Meadows at Southbrook. What did you say the status of that is as far as when they're gonna start? Because it looks like there's a through street from Lewisburg Pike straight in through Meadows to Southbrook to Goose Creek Estates. Is that gonna happen?
Well, when this development plan for Southbrook was approved, the County Highway Commission only approved an emergency connection. So this will be a gated, permanently closed unless there's some kind of, tornadic event or something that blocks the exit for Goose Creek Estates residents and they need an exit out. So this is a gated access only. Berry Farms just recently submitted and is in the process of entitling the Chadwell piece. Once they have a better understanding of this future sewer alignment, we'll be able to tie into that, and we're working with them to coordinate where that sewer line would go. So I don't have a timeline of when Meadows would start or when we expect it to develop. We've got some developer to developer coordination that needs to occur first.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other final thoughts or questions? I want to make sure
Greg, is Goose Creek Estates on sewer or septic?
these are septic tanks.
Okay, thanks.
Greg, I just want to thank you for being so considerate on this development with Stream Valley neighborhoods. You've seen and feel the pain that we're going with some other topics. So I just want to thank you for your consideration and
Yeah,
not
Alex,
adding more pain points.
you can call me anytime, and we've got a team working on questions you sent me this morning. So
Oh, yeah, that's separate, but I just want to thank you for
you're very welcome.
your consideration on this. So thanks again.
Greg,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Betsy Hester, one of the county commissioners. Could you show again, I'd like to thank you also, but
Sure.
could you show the sewer in the area of Goose Creek Bypass and Lewisburg Pike? You showed that before, but since you have such nice maps here tonight, would you help me understand what we're talking about?
Yeah,
And
sure. I'm going to kind of give you a little bit big picture here.
thank you.
Sure. So there is the Red Wing pump station that's located about in that location there.
Yeah,
There is a manhole at Goose Creek and Lewisburg Pike, and there's a sewer line that follows this creek here and goes up to the Red Wing pump station. There is another sewer trunk line that goes through Berry Farms and ties into it. So those are the two existing sewer trunk lines that are there today. The first one provides sewer for Berry Farms. The second one really provides sewer for Stream Valley. So as development occurs, you have an extension of the sewer line through Bushnell, which is here, and it goes through the neighborhood of Stream Valley. There is a new sewer main that's being constructed with Southbrook that'll be located here. We have a future sewer line that will be constructed in this location, and then a fourth sewer line that would be constructed here. So everything you're seeing in purple is either under construction or is future development.
yes. Okay,
So that gives us these kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 areas of Southbrook and how they would eventually get sewer to go to the city of Franklin.
okay. Thank you, Greg.
You're very
And
welcome.
Greg, you're confident that this sewer lines in the red lines that you have drawn will be able to hold the capacity for the additional purple lines?
Yes, matter of fact, that was one of the very first things that was evaluated back in 2019 with the original submittal of Southbrook. We had to know, is there capacity in this system for what we're proposing? And we do know that there are some upgrades that need to occur up here at the Red Wing pump station regarding capacity. But the fix here is somewhere between approximately 100,000 to 150,000. And so you have Berry Farms, its future growth, you have Southbrook, its future growth, and other areas of the city of Franklin that inevitably that Red Wing pump station will need to be improved.
Is that going to be at a financial deficit for the homeowners?
No, that's private developers. No, yeah, the city of
So we
Franklin
will
really
not
leans
incur
on,
any increase in our water or sewer bills
correct. Well, I don't know about that. The alderman
for
control
this development.
increases. But the improvements that we're talking about here are private funds.
Okay.
Greg, what about electricity and gas and other utilities? Are there, do you have an overview of where they're running and where they should be planned to run?
Well, I do know that Atmos Energy is in the process of installing a new main down Lewisburg Pike, so we'll have access to gas in that location. There is sufficient power in the area, so we're not very concerned about that. As Stream Valley was built and constructed, HB&TS Water Utility District extended a main from Goose Creek Bypass over here across the area in order to provide sufficient water for Stream Valley, and we'll have access to that main as well.
We have those electrical powers behind us. Those are remaining, I'm assuming.
They are. That's a part of the the regional power system for this area, and those will remain. Yes. Now they're going to remain in open space, so you have I can't remember the number, 60 feet of buffer before you get to the lot line over here. So yeah, there's additional space in there, but those power lines do stay. Any other final questions? If not, thank you all very much for joining us this evening. I think in your letters that you received, you should all have my email address. So if you have any further questions or something you didn't think about, feel free to email me and reach out. But I appreciate your time this evening.